Do you play rugby?
Yeah.
What team?
Yeah. Shawcross.
Shawcross.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm from up in Cumbria, you see, so I don't know any of the teams around here, any of the amateur teams. My amateur team was called Wathbrow Hornets. Has anyone heard of them?
No.
Yeah, we played them.
No.
Up in
Yeah,
Cumbria,
we
where we're.
Well,
Have you
we
been-
like.
What's that? Sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you can go.
I was just going to say, get all the players to take a picture of themselves tomorrow to see what their lockdown looks were, and obviously you've gone for a bit of a different look, James, with the tash and the.
This has took me the full lockdown to grow this far, without shaving it, which I'm quite embarrassed about, really.
You didn't have to admit that to us. What do you all think?
I know. I'm a bit.
It's all right.
Looks nice.
I'm trying to look a bit meaner, so when we come back to rugby, people are a bit scared. You see.
Right. So, James, all the guys have prepared some questions to ask you. Scary, so it should all be okay. So what I'll do is I'll introduce the question, introduce the player, sorry. And if you just ask your question. Bailey, you've got 3 questions, which is absolutely fine. You can ask all of those. But first up, we'll start with Lily Platt, who plays for South Leeds Spartans.
So, my question is, what's your training plan had been in lockdown?
Oof, good question, to be fair. I quite enjoy my training anyway, even when I'm not, around the rugby boys and stuff like that. So I do a lot of training at home, and I go to my local village gym in Morley. But I've been trying to run 3 times a week, a mixture of doing 5 kilometres, 8 kilometres, a bit of sprint work in there. And then I've been doing 4 sessions a week in my little gym in my garage, just to try and keep me ticking over. And the aim is to come back in a bit better nick than I was when I come into lockdown.
Very good. Is there anything else you wanted to ask, Lily? That's fine. Have you been training long then? With you not being able to get to your club, have you been doing any training?
Yeah, I've been doing training.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, so next up we've got Seb Jeffers, who plays for Shawcross Sharks.
Hi, I heard you played for Hothwell Hornets, but I was going to say that was one of my questions. So yeah, what position did you play in grassroots?
Yeah, like I said, I started at Wathbrow Hornets, and I started playing at around 6-year-old. And when I was young, I played a bit of fullback when I first started, because in Cumbria you play 2 years above your age. So you go under 12s, and then once you're under 12s, you play under 14s and then under 16s. So I often played for the age above me, and I like tackling. That's kind of my game, really. A lot of people like doing the kicking and the carrying the ball, but I'm total opposite. So I was quite good at fullback at first, and then as I got older, kind of grew a bit taller than everyone else and a bit bigger. So I ended up playing a bit of 6 and a bit of loose forward. And then as I got on, I actually got picked to play prop forward for England schoolboys. And at that time, I was a bit bigger. Well, not bigger than I am now, but bigger than everyone else my age. And then we got to about 12-year-old, 14-year-old, and everyone grew past me. And I just seemed to stay the same size. So that's when I've kind of had the role of loose forward from then on, or a little bit of second row now and again. But grassroots, it was mainly, I would say, loose forward, really.
Excellent. What position are you, Seb?
I play standoff loose forward.
Nice.
Excellent. Next up then we've got Bailey Woods, who also plays for Shawcross Sharks.
Who's the best player you played with?
Oh, that is a very tough question. The best player I've ever played with is probably Sam Burgess. He played at Bradford with me. And at the same time, there was probably Steve Menzies that came up from Australia, the Beaver, the legend. Both great players and probably amongst the best in the world. Very lucky to play against and with some players like that, really.
What's the biggest stadium you played at?
The biggest stadium, Wembley. I actually played against the Rhinos in 2015 in the Challenge Cup, and we actually did get beat 50-0, which wasn't the greatest of scores, but it was still an amazing day for myself. Every kid like yourselves dream of playing at Wembley, I suppose. Actually, to get the opportunity to play there, it's still a great achievement for myself. But hopefully, in the next coming years, I'll be able to get back there and actually win one this time.
What good advice would you give to a young player wanting to succeed in rugby league?
I think you've got to listen, and you've got to be dedicated as well. A lot of kids, can easily slip into bad habits these days. Playing out with the friends, getting themselves into trouble. You've got to do better things with your time and make sure you turn up to training. Always be early. Always try your best, and you shouldn't go too far wrong, really, with that, mate.
Very good. Really good questions there, Bailey. Thank you. So the next one's is Jaden Oldroyd, who plays for Batley Boys. There, Jaden?
Yeah. What made you want to start playing rugby, like when you first started?
Like I said earlier, I started playing when I was 6-year-old. I grew up on a dairy farm in Cumbria, so my family were farmers, and my friend who lived over the field, he had a farm as well, and he started playing for Bothbrow, and he asked me if I wanted to go, and I wanted to go, but my mum wouldn't let me go at first because she says rugby's too rough. So it took me a little while to persuade her to get me into rugby in the first place, but that's how I first got into it, by my friend asking me. I went along, and it was kind of a bit of an energy release for myself. I was a bit of a hyperactive kid, couldn't sit still for 5 minutes. So rugby was my kind of therapy, just to get away from everything that was going on in my life and kind of burn some of that energy that I had.
Very good. Jed,
Yeah.
sorry, yes.
Yeah, I've got one. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Like, does picking GCSE, like sport or anything, like help going professional or like picking like a good team?
What do you mean by that? Does studying?
Yeah, like studying and picking sports, GCSEs, like playing rugby help.
I think it actually helps. It does help your understanding of the sport, but it doesn't mean you'll automatically go further because you've done that course. A lot of people get into sport courses because that's what the passion is. But I'd probably more recommend that if you wanted to be a coach or something along them lines. But if you want to be a player, I recommend just training hard and doing your extra skills and things like that when you're away from training is what's going to make the difference. School is really important, and I can't stress how important it is for kids to make sure they do the GCSEs and go to college, because I started playing professional when I was 16, and along the way I've had a lot of injuries, which could have ended my career at times. And if anything happened and I didn't have rugby anymore, I wouldn't have a job to go to, anything along them lines. And it's only this last few years I've started to pick up, and I've started back at university this last few years to try and think about what I'm going to do after rugby, because rugby is an amazing sport and great while you're taking part, but it doesn't last forever.
Is that what you're looking to do, Jaden? Are you looking at your options at the minute?
Yeah.
It's good advice that from James there. So the next three, you all should know each other because they're all Winmore players. So first up, I've got Zain Hussein.
What's it like playing with the atmosphere?
It's amazing, especially the Leeds atmosphere. When you need a bit of energy and you're tired and you need a pick-me-up, well, there's nothing better than playing in a good atmosphere. The kind of crowd drives you on a little bit and makes you kind of want to pick your game up.
Brilliant. And then we've got Seth as well.
Do you enjoy playing for the Rhinos?
I absolutely love playing for the Rhinos. So like I said earlier, I was 16-year-old when I first signed for Bradford Bulls, which is the rival team. And I played there for 6 years and I played against Leeds a lot of times. Obviously, Bradford got into some trouble and I went to Hull KR. And when I played for Hull KR for 4 years, my contract come to an end and I didn't have a club. And I asked Leeds for a trial, and well, I asked a lot of clubs for an opportunity to go on trial, and not for a minute did I think that I'd end up playing for Leeds Rhinos, you know, one of the biggest teams in the world and in England. And, you know, it's a great privilege for myself to be able to wear the Rhinos badge. And such a good club.
That actually follows on really well, actually, to the question that Ethan wanted to ask you about how you came to join the Rhinos. Are you there, Ethan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
My question for you is, did the fact that you was on a short-term contract motivate you to play the best you can?
I don't think it actually did, the short-term contract. The amount of contract doesn't drive me because I always want to give 100% no matter what I do. Whether I've got a 3-year contract, a 1-year contract, I'll always give my best. So the short-term contract didn't drive me. What drive me is probably the people that doubted me. You know, I've been at other clubs, you know, and obviously, okay, I didn't want to keep me at the time. And it's that drives me, that they didn't think that I was good enough to play for their team at the time. And then to get the opportunity to play for a team like Leeds, them give me the opportunity and believe in me, that was more inspiring for me, and that drove me while I didn't have a club. The short-term contract, you know, was great because I got to play for Leeds. But at the end of the day, it was always on the back of my mind. So when I went to bed at night, I was thinking, I've only got a year contract here, so I do have to do everything I can. But like I said earlier, I try and put everything I can into everything I do anyway, with the hope of getting a longer term contract so I can settle into my rugby and I don't have to be, you know, have sleepless nights worrying about things like that. So like I said, no, the short term contract didn't drive me. It was proving people wrong and I wanting to play well for Leeds.
All right, thanks.
No worries, mate.
That's great, everyone. We've gone through all your questions, but if anyone else has got anything that they wanted to add, please feel free to shout up. Anyone? No?
What are you studying for university?
I'm studying quantity surveying. So basically what I want to do is I want to measure your walls and your floors to see how much materials you need to build a house.
Who does that in Dubai?
What's that?
My uncle does that in Dubai.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't mind living in Dubai, to be fair. That's my plan, to get out of England eventually and live in some nice hot weather. But not in a million years did I ever think that I'd go to university, because when I found out that I was going to be a professional rugby player, I thought that I didn't need school. And I got it totally wrong, because education is everything. You know, it's really important that you stick in and get them grades. And it's been a privilege for me to be able to go to Leeds Beckett now and study again and try and actually get further education for when I do finish, like I said earlier.
How do you combine that, James, with the rugby, and how's it going now that you can't go in to do any of the studies at the university?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, to be fair, because I took the course on full time while playing rugby full time. So I generally finish training around 2 or 3 o'clock, and I'll go to university while 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night, and then I'll come home and have my tea, and then I'll sit down at my desk and I'll do even more uni work, and then I'll wake up the next day and I'll do the same again, and that happens about 4 days a week. And when I do get any days off, it's usually trying to do my assignments and things like that. So it is pretty filling out my schedule, really. But while we've been in lockdown, they've actually been doing the classes over the computer. So just like this, we tune in and the teacher gives us a bit of a lecture, which is a bit easier for me because I can do as I please while I'm watching these lectures.
Excellent. So you can sympathise with all these guys who are having to study from home and they can't get into school at the moment. Yeah,
definitely. You know, it is hard to sit down and concentrate. You know, because you might want to play on your phone or flick through Instagram like I do half the time. But you know, if you try and knuckle down and get a few hours knocked out, you've got the rest of the day to do it. That's how I look at it.
Absolutely. That's great advice, James. Thank you so much for joining us and all of you. We hope to see you all.
Question, guys. I hope you see you down at the game soon, eh?
Yeah, I've got a season ticket.
Oh, have you? Yeah. Get that school work done as well. Only a few more weeks and you got your summer holidays. Cheers, guys.
Everyone, thank you.
See ya. Bye-bye.
No worries. Bye. See you later.
Yeah,